Good morning, class. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks, Alex. So, today we're going to be reviewing your homework of identifying social entrepreneurship and the strategies that we discussed found within social entrepreneurship, as well as opportunities that exist because of it. I'm eager to hear what you guys have all learned so far. Who can tell me what a social entrepreneur is?
I can. Let me just share my screen. A social entrepreneur is a person who explores business opportunities that have a positive impact on their community, in society, or the world. In other words, social entrepreneurship is about recognizing social problems and seeking means to achieve social change by utilizing entrepreneurial principles and processes. Some examples of social entrepreneurs include Alyssa Burdham and Bill Drayden. Alyssa has started a company called Easy, which seeks to help reduce period stigma and period poverty, while Bill has started a venture called Ashoka, which has set out to provide youth with the opportunities to jump on path towards positive change.
Glad to see you did your homework, Gian. Now, who can tell me what a traditional entrepreneur is and how they differ from a social entrepreneur?
Traditional entrepreneurs aim to create value that is their priority, whereas social entrepreneurs aim to create social value or change. It is someone who habitually creates and innovates to build something of recognized value around perceived opportunities. Characteristics of a traditional entrepreneur tend to be some of the following. They are motivated by financial gain, have high levels of self-interest, lower levels of social conscience, a high drive, and determination for success.
Now, let's dive into some specifics. Do you remember last week when I asked you all to come up with an example of a social entrepreneur and a traditional entrepreneur?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Great. Now, can someone please tell me about the social entrepreneur that they chose and tell us a little bit about what exactly makes them a social entrepreneur?
Yeah, I can share who I chose. So I chose Alex Schultz and Andrew Cooper, and they're the two founders of the company 4Ocean, which makes bracelets, but the proceeds go towards collecting plastic from our oceans. So let me just quickly share my screen. Alex Schultz and Andrew Cooper were inspired to create 4Ocean after taking a surf trip to Bali, Indonesia in 2015. While they had grown up in Florida and made their living from the ocean, Bali is where they truly began to understand the severity of the ocean plastic crisis and its impact, not just on marine life, but on the coastal communities that, like them, relied on the health of the ocean to survive. They are examples of social entrepreneurs because they recognized a social problem and then decided to use entrepreneurship skills to work towards a business goal, which also helped the social issue.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Alex. Now, great example. Does anybody have another one for a traditional entrepreneur? Anybody want to explain why they chose them?
I can share mine. I think Danny Reese is a good example of a traditional entrepreneur. He is the CEO of Canada Goose. The company was founded by Danny Reese's grandfather and was originally called Metro Sportswear. When Reese took over the business, he turned the small outerwear company into a world-renowned luxury brand. Canada Goose turns a large profit by producing and selling luxurious coats, parkas, and accessories. Reese appeals to the Canadian population because his products consist of high-quality outerwear that is both fashionable and designed for harsh Canadian winters. Reese recognized the need for more options for outerwear in the Canadian market and rebranded his grandfather's company to bring something of value. He is an example of a traditional entrepreneur because he used his entrepreneurial knowledge to bring something of value to the Canadian economy and subsequently turn a profit. There is nothing inherently altruistic about the brand, as Reese is largely motivated by financial gain.
This great example. Danny Reese is 100% a perfect Canadian traditional entrepreneur.
Wait, miss, I have a question. If social entrepreneurship earns money, creates value, and increases benefits to society, then why doesn't every new founder start there instead of a traditional vendor?
Wow, another great question again. Now, there's quite a few different reasons why we see this happen, but the main reason is that firms in North America have been fairly limited in the extent to which they can pursue social outcomes because of existing legal frameworks.
In 1919, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that a business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. The powers of the directors are to be employed for that end. The discretion of directors does not extend to the reduction of profits among stockholders in order to devote them to other purposes, such as social programs or corporate social responsibility initiatives. While this ruling is over 100 years old, it has been reaffirmed in many other court rulings as well across North America and other countries. As a result, the pursuit of social impact can put its directors at risk of legal action for violation of their fiduciary responsibility if the actions cannot be shown to benefit shareholders. Without legal authority, directors may be hesitant to make decisions to pursue both economic and social impacts, even if this is part of the company's stated mission. In response to this situation, an enterprising nonprofit named B-Lab created a third-party certification system in 2007 that allowed companies to become certified benefit corporations, or B Corp for short. Becoming a B Corporation requires meeting a minimum score on a B impact assessment, which looks at the firm's environmental and social impacts. Next, it may be necessary to amend the firm's governing documents to allow directors to consider the impacts of its decisions on its employees, customers, suppliers, community, and the environment in addition to its shareholders. These generally address three major provisions: a corporate purpose to create a material positive impact on society and the environment, expanded fiduciary duties of directors that require consideration of non-financial interests, and an obligation to report on its overall social and environmental performance as assessed against a comprehensive, credible, independent, and transparent third-party standard. The increasing popularity of B corporations stands to show that this is an increasing trend. Let's discuss business ethics. Ethics are derived from a set of universal values and can generally be summed up as purity of intention, wisdom in utterance, and goodly deeds. Most writers on the subject agree on several universal values which underlie ethics. These include honesty and truthfulness, trustworthiness, fairness, respect for others, service, justice, moderation, wisdom, and prudence. But business ethics is not simply a philosophical concept. It's concerned with decisions and what to do. It is obviously concerned with right and wrong, but this is usually relatively easy to sort out. We know it's wrong to steal or to kill. More importantly, business ethics seeks answers to real-life problems, which often involve conflicts of right versus right and clashes of moral principles, many of which you young entrepreneurs may encounter in your early fledgling ventures. For example, to take an extreme example, if an entrepreneur is confronted with a choice between bribing officials to obtain government contracts or laying off workers, what should they do? Well, she probably realizes that paying bribes is wrong, but is laying off workers and depriving them of their livelihood less wrong or less moral than paying bribes? A little food for thought, and I'd love to hear you all put your contributions on our discussion board following this week.
All right, we are almost done with class today. The last concept we're going to cover is Jack Welch's 6 versus 9 theory. Does anybody remember what this was from last week's reading? And could you give us all a brief explanation if you don't mind?
I do. I'm just going to share my screen. Jack Welch's 6 versus 9 theory states that we can place employees into two categories, 6s and 9s. 6s consist of employees who merely get the job done without going above and beyond. They are only willing to do what is required of them. 9s are employees who go beyond what is expected of them and excel in their job positions. They would take the initiative to add more value to the organization rather than just doing the bare minimum. Welch states that managers should prioritize the 9s, as doing so would bring more value to the organization.
Thank you, Dion. That'll wrap up today's class, everyone. I'll post this recording on YouTube in case you missed anything, because you will have to review this information for your final exam. It'll be very important. Have a good night, you guys.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Bye.